and thank you for taking the time to do this interview today. Could you please state your name and then describe for me a favorite childhood memory of yours?
Well, my name is Eric, and this is my English name, and my Chinese name is Zhang Enting. And well, as for my favorite childhood memory, I think it is to do some research with my daddy. My daddy is a university professor in the university, and at that time I just admire him so much. So I always go to his university and sometimes go to his lab to see what he is doing. And as I grew up, I could sometimes help him and get into this research as well.
Okay, cool. Tell me about the research. What specifically does your father research, and what sort of things did you do for him?
Okay, well, my father is focusing on optimizing vehicle structure so that we could reduce casualties. So it's more things of a car collision,
Yeah, absolutely.
that sort of thing. Yeah.
Huh. And go ahead.
And my father's part is to optimize the car's wheels.
Okay.
Add some metal joints inside the wheel so that if it explodes in a high speed, it could still hold for a few seconds so that the car could decelerate in a given time.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well then, Eric, do you know? Just kind of switching gears here. What do you want to study when you go to college?
Well, actually, I'm fond of computer science.
Okay.
Because even though I have my physics lab experiences with my daddy, actually I see possibilities in eliminating casualties from a manned vehicle. Well, I think so from one competition recently in my high school. It's a virtual robot competition online. So each team need to design a robot, program it, and test it so that it could run through obstacles, refuel itself, and do lots of things in a given time.
Wow.
So actually, I see possibilities in eliminating casualties from a manned vehicle. You see, it's fantastic, and I think it has a promising future. So I want to study computer science. I have accumulated lots of knowledge about the physics material of the unmanned vehicle from my previous lab experiences. So I think what I need is computer science skills. So I really want to study computer science.
Absolutely, yeah. That makes total sense. Now, I'm interested to hear more about that vehicle that you created. What part were you working on a team, and what? Tell me about this.
Team.
Yeah, tell me the specifics of how long it took you to build the vehicle and what sort of functionalities it had.
Well, actually, because it's one online virtual robot competition, so everything is just
virtual.
online.
Oh,
it's
okay,
just
I see.
Yeah, virtual. Yeah. So first, we are a team, and I was chosen to be the leader of this team. So my primary job is to lead my team to delegate power, and you need to do this job, and you need to do that job. Well, first, you see, even though it's virtual robot competition, but you still need to build one robot first. And I focused on dedicate this power to one of my best friends. He is really good at physics, so I think he is good at it. So I think. Yeah.
Sorry, but were you coding in a specific language, or did they have some sort of proprietary software that you used to help build this virtual robot of yours?
Well, the second one, I think.
Okay.
You see, first we need to attach lots of detectors in that robot. You see, we need to detect the distance or heat signature, something like that. And after we designed this robot, actually we need to learn lots of things from previous champions, their teams, because we need to know about what's the advantages of their robots, how they designed them,
Okay.
And then we figured out our own ones. It's just like a UFO looks like, and we have some our primary source is the is by using the distance detector. And by the way, I learned something from the U.S. military because even I was seeing one documentary about their military use vehicles. I found out that their detectors are nodding their heads. So using the trigonometry to detect the different distances. And we take that idea, even though it's a little bit hard doing the calculations and the program. But actually we finished it, and I think it's a great success.
Very cool, very cool. Now,
Yeah.
Eric, how do you think that the computer science and the study of computer science will change the world during your lifetime?
Well, personally speaking, first, I studied and physics, and with my father, I did lots of researches. So first, I want to change the world by making our vehicles much more safer. You see, I
No,
during the car collision, I know lots of things about
yes.
the casualties and accidents. So
Now, okay.
I think.
Yeah, so
Okay.
no, I'm asking how will the world itself be changed, not necessarily by you, but just by the discipline of computer science in general? Like, I know you're speaking personally, but can you imagine other realms that would be impacted by this, the growing and budding field of computer science?
Well, I think every aspect of our life will be changing, you see. Well, first, unmanned vehicle, or say computer science, I'm mostly talking about artificial intelligence, which I'm really fond of. Well, artificial intelligence could be seen as robots and robot arms that could do many things for human beings. So actually, I think in the future, a large proportion of our GDP will come from robots, not by human hand. So actually, we could free lots of our human labor force into much more meaningful things. And you see, for example, my grandpa was a worker for the government, and just a common worker. And actually, I think I feel really sorry for him because during one accident he lost his left hand. I think if we could use the robots and artificial intelligence to replace their works, actually we could avoid lots of accidents like that.
Yeah, definitely. What do you think can be done or should be done then about the loss of jobs? There will certainly be a rise in unemployment. How should the government, how should the private sector, tackle that challenge of humans replacing, or rather robots replacing human jobs?
Well, actually, I studied microeconomy AP courses before, so actually I have a deep insight about this.
Sure.
Well, even though it seems that humans will be replaced and they will lose their jobs, but it is just the short run. In the long run, actually, we are creating more GDP, we are producing more of the goods. So actually, these humans don't have to waste time in producing these stuff themselves. For example, something such as cleaning the house could be done by the robots. So actually, humans could save lots of time to produce more values, such as preparing for dinner with our family and that sort of thing. So actually, I think even though it seems that in the short run it will compete with humans and just compete with their salaries and they won't have money. So, but actually because our GDP is increasing, so we don't need to work that hard. And actually because the robots are producing much more values. So actually the goods are sent to humans and we don't need to spend much money on this stuff.
Okay, I see. Solid argument. Now, Eric, why is it that you want to apply to universities in America and study there as opposed to in China?
Well, as for me, I think the U.S. education is much more attractive.
Okay.
Because last year I went to a study tour to the US and visited lots of famous universities. I'm really a fan of their laboratories because their laboratories is really great, and more importantly, students are easily to get access to these laboratories.
Yeah.
But in China, you see, even though we have some laboratories, but China is now improving its education, so it's focusing on the popularization of education. So in other words, it wants more and more of our population to be educated. But in the trade-off relationship, some of the students can't go to the best laboratories and the best education resources. So I think it is really good to study in the US.
By choosing to leave your home country, do you think you'll be missing out on anything? What might you maybe miss the most, or how will you change in ways that you otherwise wouldn't if you chose to stay home?
Well, actually, the thing I miss most is actually our Chinese culture. For example, previously I'm preparing for Chinese university entrance examination, the Gaokao.
Yeah.
Actually, we are preparing lots of things on our liberal arts, our culture, our ancient poetry, our ancient articles. And I think they are really, really attractive because they could contain really, really much, really important information and stories. You see, well, Chinese ancient characters are really amazing because they contain so much information in just one little character. And I really appreciate our culture, but since I'm now preparing for US,
you would miss that.
Yeah, I will miss that.
Okay.
But actually now I'm still trying to write Asian poems myself. But
oh, interesting.
Well, yeah, interesting.
Yeah. Okay, well, Eric, actually the interview is almost over, but before we finish, is there anything else you want to highlight, mention, or just say about yourself?
Well, of course, I think there's one thing I must mention. That is, I have been a student leader, or say the class monitor, for about 10 years, since kindergarten.
Okay.
Well, as for kindergarten, it's just because I'm disciplined, and teachers think if he could well manage me, and he will have an advantage to manage all the other kids. Well, then in the elementary school, I was still a monitor, but there's some important events in my middle school. Well, at that time, I just think a monitor is to be disciplined, to set a good example for the other students, and sometimes help teachers to do other things. But actually, I learned to delegate into one event. Well, one of my friends wants to be one class monitor as well, so when in his birthday wish, I learned that. So I feel sad because I am the monitor. But then I initiated another program called the Monitor of a Day. In this case, all the other students could roll as the class monitors, so everyone could train their own leaderships, and I could also feel relieved.
Okay.
Actually, I think this is really important to me because it told me how to delegate, not just do things myself. And I'm really proud that when we all go to high school, they become the class monitors of their classes. So I feel really, really good about it.
Okay, great. All right, well, Eric, that concludes our interview. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.